haven't made a video in a little while because, I've just been enjoying how things have been working out. And I wanted to have a few, a couple weeks where I am just experiencing how I've been testing out the last two videos that Edward Art put out, and how it's working in my life, and kind of like the results I'm having. So some of my videos from the past have been me talking about how I have struggled in certain aspects of the observable what is, and some of it has stemmed from the mirror of my personal relationship with my partner. And I wanted to kind of do an update on that because it's been going better than I hoped for or imagined it could. And I wanted to talk about it because, it's something that happens quite often and regularly in the world, where people struggle to communicate effectively. They just have their own issues or things like that. And I have been public about, with my partner's permission, about some of the things that we have experienced. And I just want to say that once I made the decision to step back and to stop focusing on him and the things that he was doing that I was feeling a lot of resistance towards, and take responsibility for him being my mirror, right? And he's just mirroring back a lot. There's a lot of conflict in the mind when you're not fully in. And what I mean by that is, if you're not fully in, that means you're still conflicted, or you're on the fence, right? You're kind of wafting back and forth between the world thinking and the law of assumption thinking, and they really are different. So things that feel in the world thinking like they are completely out of your control and there's nothing you can do about it, and you're just going to have to logic and reason your way through it if you want to get anywhere. That's not something that has ever felt good to me. It's never really worked very well. And it exerts a lot of energy and takes a lot of time, and it leaves a lot to be desired, right? But when you make the commitment to throw reason out, because reason is your bondage, and I highly recommend that video by Edward Art, Reason, My Bondage. It's one that I have listened to an awful lot because it has been so helpful in helping me be more, ensconced. It's a very foundational video that has everything in it that you need to really move in the direction that you want to go when you're using the law of assumption. So reason is your bondage. When you're reasoning, when you try to reason your way out of something, or logic your way out of something, there's just a lot of ways it can go, and usually the ways that it can go are not generally satisfying. It can just feel like a lot of frustration. That's how it felt for me, and it was long-term chronic frustration, right? So I have to say, once I stepped back and I really threw reason out, and I just stopped bringing all the reasons why I was feeling frustrated with my partner, and I instead was looking at what he was reflecting back to me and what he was showing me, I made the commitment to really delve into that and accept it as a blessing, as a tool to help me kind of refocus my focus, to tighten it up, to bring it in with more clarity. And I did that by seeing where where our communications kept breaking down. So when a communication with my partner would break down, instead of getting upset at him, or maybe I would have feelings where I would feel upset, I was, instead of making it personal and about him, I was looking inwardly. I was saying, why am I giving this to myself? Now, there's a real conflict in the outer world in doing that. That, like, it can seem like the wrong direction to go, if you will. But for me, it was the right direction. And it's what helped me get off the kind of the merry-go-round of feeling frustrated and unhappy, and because it's not necessary. And so I would just go within and I would ask myself, if he's showing me these things that that don't feel good, I have to look to myself first and see where I'm giving that kind of attitude or that kind of energetic feeling to myself. And then I would talk to myself. I would go within, maybe I would just converse with myself, my inner beingness, right? I would just say, I'm open to a truthful, loving, satisfying way to be revealed to me, because sometimes in a moment I don't know what that way is. I can't logic myself to that way of what the answer is, other than just stepping back, taking my focus and my attention off of my partner, or in whatever the case is. It could be a situation, it could be an experience, it could just be what's happening right in front of you that doesn't feel good. And I would ask, or I would just not necessarily even ask, I would just state, I'm willing to have a satisfying experience from this, and for the truth to reveal itself to me so that I can, feel better. And then I would stop my focus on what didn't feel good, knowing that if I would just do that and be consistent about it and really persist with that commitment to just stop rehashing, banging the drum of the observable, what is and what I don't like about it, that it would reveal itself to me. Something would come up that would just bring me such clarity and relief. It would be a huge relief, because with clarity there is relief. And then you kind of start having inspired thoughts about it, which can lead to inspired action. Sometimes my inspired action was just to not participate in an argument, or not participate in trying to explain myself or defend myself or be right, or whatever that is, because that for me could come up a lot, like to have to defend myself. And because, my partner, I could say something and I could very clearly know what I'm saying, but what he's perceiving, it's filtered and translated with different words. Like it's almost like his mind will put in different words in the translation. Her communications with one another at times were getting severely lost in the translation between us both. And I think that is something that happens quite a bit between couples. Can happen, right? But when I stopped trying to, in the moment of a miscommunication, especially if it's a heated miscommunication, if there's strong feeling attached to the miscommunication that feels like hurt or sadness or anger, frustration, any of those things, that's not the time necessarily to try to keep communicating. I've often found that it just makes things worse. It just compounds it. It's already built too much momentum. And as long as those strong feelings are there, vibrating away, they're just going to be attracting more thought structures that uphold the miscommunication. So instead, I find it easier to just say something like, I love you. It's safe to communicate with me. I'm safe to communicate with you. I am going to come back to this, if it needs a resolution, we will come back, we'll revisit, but in this moment, I'm going to put a pin in it, and I'm going to do something else, whatever something else is. I'm going to take a walk, I'm going to write, I'm going to listen to Edward Hart, Neville Goddard, or something will come in through my feed that is perfect just in that time that I need to listen to, that I need to hear. Maybe I just need to take a few minutes and rest and close my eyes and just clear out the noise, right, in my head, whatever that is. And again, this can be with anything. It doesn't have to just be with a person. Because why? It's all coming from me. It's all coming from within me. And everything that's coming back to me it's just a reflection of what is from what I'm giving to myself. That is the hardest pill to swallow. But I absolutely believe, because of my own personal experience, swallowing that pill is worth it. It's hard to choke it down sometimes, your pride gets in the way, your reasons, your beliefs, your excuses, your wanting to be right, your indignation, your righteous, angrily, whatever it is. All of that can get in the way of swallowing that pill. But that pill is the right step to take in the moment. Always the right step to take, because that pill brings clarity. That pill brings relief. Even if I am mad as a hornet in the moment, I swallow that pill and I still might be mad for a little bit. But I must allow myself to give myself a space of grace so that I can come back to my center and stop using intense feelings as a reason to stay out of balance. It's not really helpful. And I can spend far too much time banging the drum of my discontent otherwise. And that's not fun. And it's not a place that feels good for me to be. And in my wisdom of how far I've come, I know I can give myself relief. And I know that I'm the one that can allow myself to have that relief. And I get to choose, what is, when I'm going to step in and advocate for myself instead of abandoning myself in a moment of pride and arrogance, right? And it doesn't matter. I could be right. I could be 100% right about whatever the thing is. But if I'm the one feeling upset or feeling in any way the way I don't want to feel, that is 100% on me. I have to take the reins, and I have to reel myself in to the point where I can hold myself. I can soothe myself and allow myself to feel however it is that I'm feeling. But it doesn't have to control me. It certainly does not define me. And I don't have to compound what I'm feeling and blow it out of proportion and make it feel 10 or 100 times worse, which can happen in the blink of an eye It really can happen quite quickly, where it just suddenly goes from bad to, whoa, this is just, a train wreck, right? And I mean, I know you know what I'm talking about, friend. I know you've been there. I know you've had this experience as well. So what I'm saying is that it's okay if things feel like a train wreck. That's really how you learn to choose better for yourself. You don't have to get on the train every time and then get it going as fast as you can and then derail it. Like, that's literally up to you. So what I've been experiencing is that I've had some miscommunications here and there, but not many. And in fact, in the past 3 to 4 weeks, my communications with my partner have been really wonderful. Really, it's been very interesting, because the more I'm giving myself a space where I'm feeling peaceful and calm, and I'm not reacting, or I'm not feeling reactive to anything that's going on around me. Instead, I'm going directly to the end, and I'm giving myself what I want. I'm giving myself the feeling, and that's where God is. God is in the end, in the feeling with me in this present moment, because the past is dead. It's over. And I don't have to keep going back there and rehashing things. I can enjoy things that I've experienced from the past, but anything else feels like diving into suffering, and I don't need to do that. And anything in the future that fills me with anxiety, because, in this present moment is what's building your future. And you can't build a future that's different if you're constantly focused on the past, especially in negative ways, really, intensely toxic or things of that nature from the past. So in the present moment, I've been giving myself peace. I've been giving myself just this space. It's a very spacious, calm, lovely feeling. And what I'm finding is that's what the building blocks of my future are becoming, and it's doing it in a very easy, natural, flowing sort of way. I don't have to rack my brains trying to figure out how my future is going to be better than my present moment, because everything is flowing from me in this present moment, and it's literally going to be my future self, and my future experiences are going to be, growing from this present moment, feeling space. The state that I'm inhabiting in this present moment is actually what's creating the future that I'm going to be experiencing. So Hopefully that makes sense. And I'm not sure, a better way to put it is that I listen to Edward Hart. I listen to videos of him daily. I listen as much as I need to or want to. And he's not the only person I listen to, but he is the one that goes straight to the heart of what I'm practicing in my present moment. And my inner self, I've become and am becoming more and more comfortable with the relationship that I have with my own beingness. And it feels safe and warm and secure and loving in ways that I never, felt before, because I was always looking outside of myself for validation or for comfort, right? I would look outside of myself for relief. And I have learned, thanks to Edward's teachings, that I don't have to look outside of myself. I am the operant power. Looking within myself is as far as I have to go, and it's right here, right now, always available to me, always ready to reveal itself to me if I will only meet it in a state, in a space of allowing. And that is, sometimes I have to, it is a practice until it becomes more of a natural part of how you exist in your day-to-day life, in your moment-to-moment living. And then it's like you naturally go there because you're training your mind. You're leading your mind to work for you, not against you. So it gets easier, friend. It does. And things are not as hard as they seem, or as you make it out to be, because I can tell you, I am having a better relationship now with my partner than I've had in 5 years. 5 years of a lot of struggle and a lot of trauma and a lot of unsatisfaction and discontent, right? And it's not just me. He was feeling it too. But now I've taken the lead in my own well-being, and I've reached out to my own inner self for what? For just beingness, for security, for feeling safe, for trust, for believing that this is a real relationship, this is a real thing, that I'm not crazy, and that I'm not just mostly when you try to throw reason out and you go and you turn away from the outer world, it can look like you're crazy. And if you even try to explain it to anybody else, why do that? Forget about that. It's an interaction between you and your inner being that reveals truth and remedies any situation that you might find yourself in. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone ever in the outer world about what you're doing with yourself in your inner world. You will have confirmation, and it will show up in your outer world. And everything in your outer world really does begin to change when you do this. When you turn away from the observable what is, and you start conferring with your inner being as though that is the only being that matters, and that is the only being to confer with, because there's no one else's permission in the outer world that you need. There's no one in the outer world that's going to save you. You are the person in the outer world that is here to save yourself by going by going within to your inner beingness and conferring in secret, in silence, with that is the truth. That is, and even if you're like, I don't know what the truth is, well, for one, stop asking a bunch of questions that you don't need the answer to. What you're looking for is just a sense of security and safety within yourself. And as you do that, as you allow yourself to do that, it will reveal itself to you until you reach the point of momentum that it begins making sense. It brings a sense of clarity and experience with it that becomes undeniable to you. And that's when the momentum really starts to build. And then everything that before maybe would have derailed you, it would have derailed me, it doesn't derail me anymore. In fact, what happens now is that I immediately know if something feels like it's going awry, and I take my foot off the gas immediately if I can, and I usually can because that's what I've been practicing doing. I've been practicing giving myself what I want, and what I want is to take my foot off the gas when things get heated, because I don't need to drive my car off the cliff. I don't need to be reckless. I'm only causing myself problems and delays when I do that, and I just don't need to do that. And I know now through my experiences that when I take my foot off the gas, my inner being is able to reveal itself to me in ways that I often surprise me. That I'm not surprised that my inner being is revealing itself to me. I'm surprised at the way it can feel so effortless and so quick if I will just allow myself to have that interaction, right? So I don't want to make this too wordy. I just want to say that people in your outer world will change. They will either change and meet or exceed your expectations as they are connected with truth and love, or they will exit your life. And you don't have to fret or worry about anything exiting your life, because you really only want what's true and real in your life anyways. So if you can just take some of that stress off yourself when it comes to, being attached to someone or something, to a certain outcome, like, just let that go for a while. You don't have to, you don't have to just be like, this has got to happen, this has got to be this way, it's got to be like this person has to be with me, or I have to have this person in my life, or things with this person has to go this way. Like, that's not your part to play, friend. It's taken me a long time to get to this place where I now know this. And it feels so good. It's such a relief to just play my part and to stop trying to do the job of spirit. Right? I don't have to do that part. That part does what it does perfectly. And if I just do my part, there's no interference. There's no resistance. And that's all that Edward talks about. That's all that Neville Goddard speaks of. They're just telling us what we're doing that's making it more complicated than it needs to be ever. And as you practice and put it to the test, that's when you will start to really, excuse me, you'll really start to experience the way that it is supposed to feel. How it's so natural for us to just flow rather than resist. And that doesn't mean you're giving up your own personal happiness or your own free will or any of that business. If anything, you're supporting yourself. You're advocating for yourself. You're not abandoning yourself. Every time you're in a state of resistance and heavy feels, that's typically an indicator that I've experienced that I'm abandoning myself. And I don't have to do that. And it's easy. It really is easy once you start doing it. And if you want to know how to do it, Edward lays it out beautifully, and he explains it in a way that is so easy to understand. He doesn't mince words. He's so clear. And oftentimes, if you just listen over and over to these videos that he makes and take notes, things will start shining through, that you're not going to pick everything up in one go. It's just a matter of letting it seep in and letting it pervade the beingness of you, right? Because it's the true focus. It's a truer focus than what you've been giving to yourself. And he's just putting it in a way that he's using that works for him. So it can work for you too. And I'm sure you'll find plenty of your own ways to do it too. And I think it's important to share that, because we're not doing anything grand or particularly special. We're just meeting ourselves in a space of allowing and trust, and things are naturally flowing out of us that way, and it alters the three-dimensional experience that we're having. It's just, it literally alters everything in the outer world. And then suddenly things just begin to fall into place. It feels good. It feels right. You know it by how it feels. And you just keep rolling with that. And every time you feel stuck or stymied or whatever it is, go back to yourself and give yourself some space and grace and start over again, because every moment is your opportunity to give yourself exactly what you want, and it's yours. No one and nothing can stand in your way. You cannot be stopped from giving yourself exactly what you want. And it's always been my experience that I will get what I want or better. I always seem to get what I want or better. And then it just becomes a matter of patience, right? Persistence, just continuing on as though you have what you want, and believing and trusting in that, feeling safe and secure in what you're doing when you're meeting with yourself in your imagination, in your secret, sacred space of beingness, right? That's all you have to do. And you just got to get really committed to doing that as much as you can until it's your natural state of being, right? And then, wow, then your life is really gonna unfold in ways that you're gonna share. You're gonna want to tell, your story and how you're doing it, usually. Or maybe you're just gonna be like, I'm good. I get it, and I lose it, and then I go back and I get it again, and you're just building. You're building that momentum. That's all it is. You're learning how to drive, right? You're learning how to walk. You're learning how to run. You're learning how to ride the bike. You just keep getting back to it and doing it, and it becomes a natural way of being, and that shows up in your outer world, and it will surpass everything that you are even currently trying to imagine for yourself or giving to yourself. It will surprise you. It will delight you. And things will continue to just get better and better. I know this is the truth because it's been my experience. Don't give up, and don't think that you're doing something wrong. Just keep going back to yourself. Just keep advocating for yourself, and the way is going to unfold before you. It really is. I mean, you're this far. Don't give up, and don't doubt it, and don't question it. Throw reason out and just give yourself over completely to testing this out. And once you do that, you're gonna know the difference. You're gonna feel the difference. You're going to see the difference. You're gonna experience the difference. It's going to be all around you. And that's when you're really going to be convicted with the truth of it. It will wrap its arms around you, and you will feel so safe and so loved, and your trust will never waver, because why would it? It's the truth of you. It's the truth of me. You're here to experience life. You're not here to make life harder for yourself, unless that's what you're committed to doing. And if you are, well, just go for it. But it doesn't have to be that way, friend. So anyways, I'm going to go now because I have lots of fun and delightful things to do today, and a walk to take, and I've got my 2 kitties. I just got them back from the vet yesterday, and they got fixed. You know, I had to do the responsible thing, and I had to fix them. But it's important. I can't have a million kitties running around my farm. And I love them, and I'm going to go spend the day with them and pet them and talk lovingly to them. And I'm going to talk to myself, and I'm going to talk lovingly to myself. And until we talk again, friend, much love.